I'm at a party in the city.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z is there. Butch Lewis was there. Denzel Washington. I think it was Butch Lewis's birthday. Butch Lewis was one of Denzel's closest friends. He passed away. And we all in the section. You know, I had just finished talking to Jay. After we spoke or whatever, I went and sat in this little corner on, like it was some steps. Still in the VIP section, but it was just off to the side.
Right.
And I never forgot I had on a Yankee fitted. And this was the time when Denzel always had on Yankee fitteds. Mm-hmm. Everybody is around him, tugging, pulling, girls, and everybody just in this man's face. And I'm sitting over there on the steps by myself. And he saw me, and he looked over, and he just pointed. He just like this. But I'm thinking he pointing at the hat, you know, because of the hat or whatever. Yeah. So a few minutes later, I ended up over there where he was, and he's sitting on this couch. And it's a girl right here, and a girl right there, and a girl standing behind him, and the girl standing, like they just all around the man. So eventually he stood up, and he, you know, and I spoke to him, shook his hand, whatever. And I said, "Oh, you like the hat?" Because I thought that he was pointing at. He said, "No." He said, "You know I like the hat." He said, "But I like where you were sitting at." Mm. He said, "You had the best seat in the house. Out the way." You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So then we started talking, and you know, I'm asking him like, "Man, how do you deal with all of these women, the people around you?" And you know, and I said, "And I know you married." He said, "Man, it's like fishing." He said, "You know, they jump out the water, you look at them, you throw them back in, you go home to your wife." You know what I'm saying?
That's a gem.
But he said, you know, and this is my Denzel Washington story. First and only time ever meeting the brother. But again, to my point about just being cool, staying out the way, people will notice you. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting in the corner chilling, and Denzel noticed me over there and acknowledged it. So I'm telling people it's power in just relaxing and being cool. Because when you're not in the mix, those that's in the mix will see you because you're not there with everybody else doing the same old thing.
Yeah. TK. Jersey. I've been on the grind, man, all it took was patience. That money on my mind, man, all I see is hating. He jocking on the low, man, you know the kid is wavy. Like how you mad at me when you know you're fucking lazy. Should've changed. What's good, everybody? It's your girl, Health is Key, and you are tuned in to the Health and Hip Hop Podcast Show with my boy,
The Composer Rel.
Yeah, we have another amazing episode for y'all. Ah, man. I'm so happy about this episode. We got the OG. Shabazz in the building.
What's happening?
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. How you feeling?
I'm good. Rested, chilling.
Good.
Yeah, but I'm good. Happy to be here. Again, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
I keep my face activated.
We ask every guest that appear on the show, what is your favorite artist and why?
And hold up,
hip-hop artist, that is.
And hold up, just so you can get the context of why we ask. I'm sure. Well, I mean, you have a lot of content where you express yourself, so I'm sure your audience has an understanding somewhat of you. But we love to do it because, you know, we feel like when you say who your favorite artist is, right, it gives a whole nother stigma to you as well. So, you know, yeah, like who's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist is Hov.
Okay. And why?
It's just the inspiration he gave, you know, in that era of From Reasonable Doubt forward, that, you know, it made you wanna hustle. It made you wanna be fly. It made you wanna, you know, step your game up. Like his wordplay, you know, the delivery, you know, being able to like see the words that he was speaking. You know, And a lot of times, a lot of people didn't and don't understand because a lot of things that he talk about, you had to be outside doing certain things to get it. You know, like he said, you know, couldn't talk about it if you ain't live it. So a lot of things was relative, you know, to where life was at that time, you know, for me. And then it was just like, again, his wordsman, his wordplay, and, you know, him being a wordsmith that he is. He's like, he just always stood out to me. You know, I don't get into the debates though, the top 5 that are alive and the arguments. I ain't doing none of that. There's so many people that I like, but if I just gotta go, you know, somebody just back me down. Who's your favorite? I'm just going with Hov and just be done with it.
Ah, okay. Do you have a favorite album? I know he got a plethora of them, but or one that you means the most to you?
I'm gonna be honest. If again, without just doing any thinking, the first album comes to my mind is the Dynasty album.
That's different. Usually people say like Reasonable Doubt. Why the Dynasty stick out?
I think because 1-900 Hustler just did something different. 1-900 Hustler, like, and that was and I'm from Philly, but that was my first time hearing Freeway. So like that album sticks out the most. If I say an album, it's going to be the Dynasty album.
Dynasty. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Usually people say Reasonable Doubt, so the Dynasty.
You know, I mean, sometimes people say what they think they're supposed to say. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. The Dynasty album is that album that I was just referring to, and I say you had to live it to understand it.
Right.
So a lot of people who really like a Dynasty album, they was really like outside doing that, and it was really speaking to them directly. You know what I'm saying? Guys and girls. So I understand it though. But, you know, off the top of my head, without thinking, I say the Dynasty album.
That's that the album with This Can't Be Life.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have a favorite album, whole album?
Mine, I want to say Volume 1.
Yeah, Volume 1?
In My Lifetime, Volume 1. Imaginary Players. That was one of the songs that I heard, like, the album came out 97. I was about 8. I just remember my cousin just playing that in the car, and you know, that line just stick out. That's some nice, that's some down south Master P, body. You know, so that just stuck out to me, cause just growing up, I grew up listening to P. Yeah. You know, so that one right there.
Yeah, I mean that song in itself, again, that's one of those relatable songs for people who was outside, you know, moving around, because you know he talking about, you know, I got blood money, straight up thug money. That brown paper bag under your mattress, drug money.
Right.
You know, that's really what we was putting the money at.
Right.
You know, those are brown paper bag days. That's what dudes was running up in record labels, paying with.
Wow.
You know, brown paper bag. Brown paper bag was a thing. You know, for, you know, unconventional money transactions. It was really brown paper bagging it.
Right.
You know, that was really a thing.
Have you been to the museum yet? Or
I have.
You have?
I have.
Do you what you think about the experience? And
it was dope. It was surreal to see, like, you know, because, you know, I wouldn't say Hov and I are friends, but I'm family of him. So I've met Jay, you know, several times, but, you know, the whole State Prop is my family. You know, Bleak is my family. You know, Emery and I are close. Right. You know, Tata's brothers, Vaughn, you know, Murder and Leaky, like, these are all my guys. So all of these people are family to Jay. Right. So for me, when I was in the museum, it was like surreal, you know, to walk in the what was supposed, you know, what was the replica of Baseline, and just seeing, you know, my guys at young ages, like I'm watching Vaughn, like a little guy in the studio, and you know, and seeing Lenny S. And, you know, it was like nostalgic. You know, you remembering like where you were when what you were doing when this was happening, and you know, and then I'm looking and I see the reels from the studio and the DATs, and I'm like, damn, like a lot of, you know, people won't even understand, what they're looking at when they see some of that equipment.
Right.
And then just thinking about, some of the monumental shows that I attended and the things that took place at those shows. It was dope being there, seeing it.
Wow.
It was cool.
Then a brother being able to have that type of pull, clearing out a whole library in Brooklyn, and it's free where people are able to come out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
dope.
That's monumental.
But you gotta remember that the age though, like that's like, people get sections in museums years
And he's still alive.
after, so that's just amazing in itself, in my opinion.
No, it is. I think it's important, man, to salute and champion people while they can hear it.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know where this thing came from about everybody just in love with you after you gone. Like, oh my God, he was so great. And you didn't tell these people that when they was there?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's dope to see him, receive his accolades and everything, like you said, why he's here to receive it, because people like to hear that. People want to be acknowledged for their work.
Do you think that's like something that take place now just due to like people healing a little bit more rather than, let's say, back in like your prime days?
I think, especially for men, I think depending on who you are and how you move, and I can attest to this for myself, I think a lot more men are comfortable approachable men and giving them those flowers and saying, I like what you do, versus, historically speaking, it might have been a little bit more difficult to see a man salute a stranger or another man and tell him he's dope, but again, I think it comes from how the man conducts himself, from the perch from which he stands, like myself. What I champion, one of the things I champion myself for is not a lot, but the things that I do champion myself for, I stand on them. And one of them is the fact that I made it my business to make myself approachable for men who support my platform, like what I do, relate to what I do, So it makes me feel good when I'm outside, I'm in the airport, I'm in a restaurant, I'm walking down South Beach, and I see guys, that know me from social media. You dig? And I've seen guys with their girl. And I think the dopest thing is when they let their girl hand go or they stop their girl and they come and talk to me and tell me in front of their lady, like, yo, bro, I like what you doing, man. Can I get I got dudes asking to take pictures and they lady right there. That's dope to me. That shows me that you secure.
Yep.
That shows me that you don't think yourself as less of a man. And it tells me that how I conduct myself on the platform, it resonated with them through the screen to say, if I see him, I can holler at him.
Right.
And I like that.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Giant was talking about that one of the last interviews we did, and he was talking about a sister and a brother they was dating, and they made their way to make sure that they gave these salutes to Styles P, which to me is also just an awesome stand-up guy.
Yeah, but Styles is one of those guys.
Absolutely.
He's one of those. That's my man. Kiss, Styles, Luch. Those that's family.
Right.
And it's like certain guys in the industry. If you know. Like some of them is just they who they are. They just do what they do professionally to get their bread.
Right.
Absolutely.
But like at the end of the day, they pants leg go on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And that's how they carry life. And that's why they be having the longevity and the respect that they have. Because at the end of the day, man, this life thing ain't easy, man. And the last thing you need to do is be out here and, portraying yourself as better than somebody else because of what you have and what they don't have.
Absolutely.
Like, that's just one of the corniest, concoctions you can put together, man. Is think you better than somebody because of what you got.
No, absolutely. I actually have a question too in regards to hip hop, right? Because for us growing up, like, which is why this show was established. But for us, hip hop has done a lot, right?
Right.
And I can go way more detail, but with our generation, we kind of we're at the point where we were younger, we were hearing more of hip hop where it was more of a fly thing, a clothes and a, positive standpoint. And I don't want to make it seem like it's a negative thing because it's not all negative, but we seen a transition from it being that into all about like gangs and having to be like, you had to be thorough for us. And that's caused some thinking or some type of twisted thinking with our generation. So I wanted to know in regards to, because you got to see it from what we're talking about, and then I want to know like what has hip hop done for you just from the beginning standpoint and some of the just changes that you may have seen, or has it occurred for your life? Has that affected you anyway? I
mean, hip hop for me, because I started interning when I was 16, 17.
At radio station, right?
Right, at Power 99 FM in Philly with Lady B. So I was her intern, but I also used to rap at the time. So she had a show every Sunday that aired from 12 to 4. And probably like the last 10 minutes of the show, her MCs, which we would call the street beat MCs, we would all rap the last few minutes of the show to instrumentals, myself, Prince Lil E, Disco,
nice.
Flash D, the green-eyed MC. So that's where I got my start. That's where I started to meet the rappers. That's when I met Run. That's when I met LL, Jalil from Houdini, Cutmaster DC. That's when I started unbeknownst to me, that's when I started to learn networking within, the industry. This one, Will Smith was just getting his start.
Wow.
I remember when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air started. I was at the radio station when LL used to really walk around with the radio on. I was there. I was at the Raising Hell tour when Run took off his Adidas and held it in the air.
Wow.
And 20,000 people had Adidas in their hands. And you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So the nostalgia of hip hop and, being around it, and my personality of who I am as a person, it just carried, even though I was in the street, even though I worked 9 to 5s, even though, I didn't see my rap career through. I still stayed connected to the business and the industry through the relationships that I made. So then, I started in radio promotions and party promotions and, doing parties and shows and things like that.
It was off your Diddy wave.
Yeah, and not on
Puff
that
Daddy,
level.
that was Puff Daddy.
Not on the level that Puff did it, I did things here and there, one-offs, but again, it was because of the relationships. And I was able to, do bookings and things. But this is how I met a lot of people, Bleak and I became friends because I booked Bleak, out in Milwaukee. That's really when Freeway and I started to become friends because, I booked him, rekindled with Big Daddy Kane because I met Kane back in the 80s, but then I booked him to be in Milwaukee, back in 2003. So it's like a lot of the friendships and the relationships that I have now started through booking the artists and then just remaining in contact and being friends with them, along the way. So hip hop it has paid me. It has increased my relationships. It has, perfected my networking ability because people don't understand networking is a skill. You have to know how to be around celebrities. You have to know how to interact with them. You have to know how to keep your composure, right? And understand within your own right, you're a celebrity. If you feel that way about yourself. Right. That's just me. Like, when I come in the room, I'm like a thermometer. I'm gonna change the temperature. I don't care who in the room. And that's done and said respectfully because of how I revere myself. So when I'm around other people, I conduct myself accordingly. I'm not overzealous. I'm not overwhelming. I'm not overbearing to people. And when you're not like that, and you have a good personality, and people are comfortable with you, then they want you around. They don't mind you being around. So, you know, I've had some fun with hip hop.
No, absolutely.
You know, in terms of the music, yeah, things have significantly changed. And that's one of the bigger topics right now. And I think a lot of people just forgetting, like, it's not solely the rappers' faults. It's not solely their fault. I will say that there's
Excuse me, are you referring to today's rappers or are you talking about period?
today, because once upon a time, like I was having this conversation earlier. Once upon a time, we had variety.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
You had NWA if you want some gangster talk. You had LL Cool J if you want to be a lover boy.
Absolutely.
You had EPMD. You had Run DMC.
Yeah.
You had Snoop. You had Ice T. You know, you had Schoolie D. Like, you had Lauryn Hill. You had Lil Kim. You had Queen Latifah. You had Foxy Brown. Like, if you didn't want to hear this and you still wanted to participate in hip hop, you didn't have to go back and listen to the Sugar Hill Gang. You had to dig all the way back. You know, you had something to listen to. Like, nowadays, people who really love hip hop, they listening to what we listened to back then because they don't want to listen to what's going on now. They don't have anything current and refreshing because, unfortunately, again, like I said, and it's not all the rappers' fault. I know a lot of people talk about the influence that music is having on our youth and our younger generation, and that's absolutely true. The music is extremely influential. It's very graphic, right? And I believe that the real issue is a lot of people have been placed in a position where they believe that this is what I have to do if I want to get the check. So it goes back to the engine and the machine, not necessarily the rappers. Granted, I do believe that there is an abundance or a handful of rappers who've achieved and amassed certain levels of success that can say, you know what, I know this is a little destructive. Let me chill, or let me go in a different direction because I done made the money. I can talk a little heavy if I feel like it. And, you know, it ain't really nothing be done to me because I got it in the bank. You know, let me kind of turn the corner and try to save some of these young lives, right? I believe that can be done. I just also believe people have to understand that you have to allow people the grace to make that decision when they're moved to do it. Too many people have been parallel in their life doing the same thing that somebody else is doing. And when you reach a point that you decide you're not doing it no more, but I'm still doing it, now you better than me. Now you know bad. You know you need to stop doing that, man. But at the same time, allow me the grace. Allow me the space and the time. And maybe you got it before me. It's okay to encourage me. It's okay to, you know, share with me what you're dealing with and what you're going through and how it's affecting you. Share, but don't criticize. Don't condemn. Don't forget. You did. You was just right here with me. Maybe I haven't reached where you've reached just yet. So when you're making those changes, you have to allow other people the grace to make them. Because you just made your change. Back in '95, Miss Betty on the block was wishing you changed.
Miss Betty on the block.
Miss Betty was saying, God damn it, I wish
Betty.
that boy, I sure wish she'd get herself together. 15 years later, you got it together. But Miss Betty wanted you to get it together back in '95. You didn't get it until you got it. You got to allow other people the same grace and the same opportunity and time to grow. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But you can't be a hypocrite. That's why when I talk about the streets, when I talk to the youngest, when I go to the prisons, I don't never talk at them. I talk to them because I didn't stop selling drugs and going to prison till I was ready. Till my life went into a direction that I could see something better and clearer. So it's not fair to talk to them as if they can't change.
Right.
As if you just doomed. Man, you better get it together. You going like, nah, because that's not what happened to me. Talking about I turned it all the way around. You know, thank Allah. So, you know, I think people have to understand what a lot of these entertainers are up against, because the machine has done one hell of a job. You know, this was designed to be what it is. You know, it was designed to take these inner city youth that come from nothing and dangle money and success in their face and make them feel like this is what you got to say and do in order to get it. Because let's just take all our popular rappers and let's just say everybody wakes up tomorrow collectively and say, heck no, we won't go. That's it. We ain't saying it no more.
Yep.
The engine gonna say, okay, cool. They're gonna go find somebody else that's broke, poor, and destitute that's gonna do it for the bag. Because at the end of the day, when you take something away from somebody or you block them from it, you have to be able to get them an alternative. And if you can't, then you're gonna have a hard time convincing them that what you're saying is the sensible and lucrative and beneficial thing for them to do. It's hard. It's a really tough spot to be in, but it doesn't mean we give up. It doesn't mean we throw in the towel. It doesn't mean that we don't try to guide and protect our young, you know, because we still have to do that, right? But you still got to have a level of understanding and communicate effectively to try to, you know, reach the commonality, which is to help them be better and do better and show them other ways and options, you know, to be successful as much as possible.
With your Instagram reaction posts, I think they're gems because you share like different perspectives on various topics.
Right.
One in particular, just staying on topic, I know that you made a recent reaction video towards like D1 music.
Okay.
You know, and the things that he was saying when he was on Sway in the Morning, is that some of the like responses that you was, you know, digging into in the sense of just giving grace to other rappers and artists? With that situation specifically, right? Like when I see videos, when I watch videos, and when I react to them, I react after I think. I react after I read. Right.
You know, I don't look at something and then it touches me emotionally, then I just go blabbing. You know, I'm a thinker. Right. You know, I'm a strategist. I'm very analytical, right? And with the D1 situation, he didn't say anything wrong, like I said in the video. You know, Meek is my family. That's my guy. And, you know, I'm not as close to Ross, but Ross is my guy. Jim Jones is my guy. Right. Like these guys, like Meek and Jimmy is family for real. You know, and Ross is a close affiliate industry-wise. But what D1 was saying is valid. It's okay to say, well, Meek, if you're the face of prison reform, why are you still talking about sliding, right? That's a valid question. The only thing that I took from it, not the only thing that I took, but the main thing that I took from it is when D1 said, after everything he said, after he basically called them out, and then he said, if y'all want to talk to me, we can talk. That right there. I wanted it to be understood by him and others. And nobody has to agree with me, but just from my perspective and knowing people and how people react to things. Right. If the end intention was to say, hey, if y'all want to talk to me, let's talk. In my opinion, even though I don't know a lot about D1 from his own admission, he's been in the industry for over 15 years. He's doing Sway in the Morning. So he has a huge following. So he's been around. So in my mind, there's at least an opportunity before going public to try to holler at one of these guys. Right. I personally would have preferred a failed attempt. I tried to reach Ross. I tried to reach Meek. I tried to reach Jimmy. Nobody was trying to hear it. Nobody hit me back. Somebody stood in the way. It didn't happen, but I tried. But I'm going to go have this conversation now. I would rather that approach, because now at least you tried to extend grace to have a conversation and you don't make somebody feel like I'm just trying to put you on the spot. Right. And embarrass you. You know what I mean? Or put you on the carpet. See, our people have gotten, for whatever reason, people love for people to be blasted, and they love for people to be exposed, and you know, and it's the hype and the camaraderie of possible negativity that feeds so many people, and that's what I be trying to avoid, because I know what effective communication will do, and I know what a lack of effective communication will
absolutely.
do. And now you see what happened. Right. Ross got upset. And he did what a human will do. He reacted.
Yep.
Now, granted, I can look in this camera and say, I don't feel like Ross talking about the turkeys and all of that was correlative to what D1 was talking about, right?
Right.
However, Ross took offense. He took offense, like most people would have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Delivery.
Because if you wanted to talk to me, if I say, man, you know, the health and hip hop podcast, you know, it ain't this and it ain't that and it ain't this and what they should be doing is this and I don't understand why they do that. But hey, if they want to holler at me, we can talk. You're not gonna want to talk to me after that. You're not gonna want to talk to me because in your mind, if you really wanted to talk to me, you would have made an effort to talk to me before you spoke on me.
Absolutely.
So now when Ross responds with his commentary, then what happened? Now D1 responds. And then in his commentary, D1 says, you know, if he want to talk to me, we could talk, but nah, he ain't going to do that. He ain't going to talk. You know what I'm saying? So now,
you didn't give him the opportunity.
Now it's dust in the air. And from what I've seen of because I reached out to him. I reached out to D1 because so many people sent me his live later that night, the same day I put the post up. And in that live, he mentioned, you know, that he hoped I was watching. So I DM'd him. Actually, I commented on the post first and I reiterated my position. And then I DM'd him and he DM'd me back. And it was super respectful, all good. You know, because for me, it wasn't an issue because I wasn't saying that don't hold these guys accountable. I'm not saying D1 says something wrong. I'm not saying he dissed anybody. It wasn't that.
Right.
I'm a firm believer in communication. Communication saves and starts a lot of things.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So for me, I just would have rather see an effort. A lot of people feel like, well, no, they probably wouldn't have. I don't do, they probably wouldn't have. I believe in effort. If he reached out to them, they wasn't, you don't know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I prefer a failed attempt. Because the way I was raised, the way I was brought up, when I was outside, I was taught, don't do nothing that you're gonna have to try to undo. Don't do nothing that you're gonna regret. Do your homework first. That way when you strike, you struck with precision. You struck with precision. You know, and effectively and for the street term, lawfully in the street. You know, you struck when you were supposed to. Your homework was done.
Right.
No innocent people. You know, oh no, see, I thought that was him. How you thought? Why didn't you check?
Yep, absolutely, yep.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's why my mindset is like that. That's why you will never, if I can help it, if it's an issue, I'm not gonna go on the internet and talk about anybody that I can pick up the phone and call.
Absolutely.
I'm just not gonna do it. I stand on that. So I just didn't want that situation to go where it went because now it's not going to be productive.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And I didn't want to see it turn into something unnecessary. And I don't think it's going to go far. But again, just even with the response, now here's a response. Now it's going to be another response. And then you got the people who aren't looking in the comments. Like, this is the type of stuff, unfortunately, a lot of people like to see because they like who they like. So now, if you like D1, you know, now it's F. Rick Ross. You know, in all actuality, the only thing that took place is human nature kicked in. Yep. The man got offended. And, you know, people have to understand that. You know, but I just wish, you know, we did exercise our relationships more.
Absolutely.
In the attempt to interact with one another, you know, when it comes to how we feel, because the streets, the industry, the world, 6 degrees of separation connects us all. And it's not hard to talk to somebody, you know, and then when you want to speak on people. You know, whether you know them or not, I learned over a course of time, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I learned that.
Yes,
you know.
absolutely. The delivery is more important than the message.
Exactly. You know, so I just believe I believe in extending that level of respect. And again, I believe it saves us from seeing negative interaction between our peers, you know, and the artists that people, you know, that people love and revere, because when you really strip it all the way down, is it that deep? Because, you know, Ross, Meek, and Jim Jones are 3 people. This entire industry is backed against the wall right now with negative. Like, this is the whole game is in turmoil.
Absolutely.
So I can understand feeling singled out, you know, amidst everything that's going on.
Absolutely. I have a question on maintaining relationships. We actually have an episode geared towards specifically talking about maintaining and the importance of maintaining relationships. Right. So I want, and I gotta shout out Pilar. Since, you know, I gotta shout out Pilar. Shout out Pilar Scratch. We had her as a guest. She was basically. She taught me that a long time ago. She's a celebrity wardrobe stylist, and she put me on to that. And I've always been like that, but I want to know your perspective as far as, like, to me, relationships is everything, even from the relationship that we have within ourselves, the relationship we have with food, to how our cells and how our organs, when it boils down to the body, how everything relates and helps each other, how the sun, how the moon, how the water, everything relates to each other. So when it comes to maintaining great relationships, right, with people's short temper span today, right? What are some ways that we could, like, nurture and maintain great relationships when it boils down to, I want to say business wise, because that's what I feel like everybody is focused on more so, but what are some ways that we can maintain and nurture and keep great relationships?
The first thing you have to do is understand yourself. You got to understand you. You have to understand your strength. You have to understand your capabilities. And you have to understand that you can't force what it is that you're looking for to happen. So a lot of people are overzealous. Like I said a little while ago, some people are overwhelming, you know, and they're just excited. You know, they just, you know, they get around certain people and they get around certain atmospheres and they get overtaken and they lose themselves. And then they forget they're dealing with other humans who analyze, who have trust issues, who got insecurity problems within themselves. Like, you have to do less when you're building relationships. You have to let people see your value. And a lot of people have a problem doing that because they don't see themselves as the value. They see the value in who they're trying to build a relationship with. That person has to be able to see what you bring to the table. That person has to be able to say to themselves, damn, I like him or her. It's cool for him or her to be around. You understand what I'm saying? Like, people ask me all the time, how do you know all these people? How do all of these celebrities know you? And over the course of time, it's because of how I conduct myself. When I come around, I don't bring 1,000 people with me. When I come around, if I'm invited somewhere, I'm probably going to be by myself or with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Or with one other person, my brother maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know how to make people comfortable with your presence as they're getting to know you and you're getting to know them. People like to be comfortable. And once people are comfortable around you, that comfortability leads to a level of trust. Then when they have, you know, you end up exchanging phone numbers, you know, you nurture those relationships. You covet what you have. You don't do dumb stuff. And, you know, it's like relationships are more about you. That's what people don't understand. The relationship is really more about you, not who you're trying to build a relationship with. Because if I'm trying to build a relationship with you and who I am puts me in your presence, everything about me, if you're a person who pays attention and if you really are interested in building a relationship and a rapport with me, organically, it's going to happen.
Yep.
All I have to do is be cool.
Yep.
People don't know how to be cool, though.
Yep.
Like, please be cool. Where the camera at? Be cool.
He always say, my boyfriend always say that. He be like, yo, just be cool.
No, just
be cool.
Listen, let me tell you something. Like, being cool is so cool.
Absolutely.
It's the coolest thing, man. Like, when you just be cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not talking about, like, Snoopy cool.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about chill. Just be easy.
Yep.
Because if people, right, if you doing anything worthwhile or you doing anything different, I promise you're going to be noticed.
Facts.
All you got to do is be different.
Facts.
Different in the sense of if everybody over here crowded around over there and I'm going to tell you a true story, no lie. This was in 04, bro. When we went to that party and Butch Lewis party when Denzel was there. Was you with me?
10th grade.
Yeah. We went
9th grade.
We was in the you had to be with me because this was like 04, 05.
In 10th grade.
I'm at a party and I'm at a party in the city.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z is there. Butch Lewis was there. Denzel Washington. I think it was Butch Lewis's birthday. Butch Lewis was one of Denzel's closest friends. He passed away. And we all in the section. You know, I had just finished talking to Jay. After we spoke or whatever, I went and sat in this little corner on, like it was some steps. Still in the VIP section, but it was just off to the side.
Right.
And I never forgot I had on a Yankee fitted. And this was the time when Denzel always had on Yankee fitteds. Everybody is around him, tugging, pulling, girls, and everybody just in this man's face. And I'm sitting over there on the steps by myself. And he saw me, and he looked over, and he just pointed. He just like this. But I'm thinking he pointing at the hat, you know, because of the hat or whatever. Yeah. So a few minutes later, I ended up over there where he was, and he's sitting on this couch. And it's a girl right here and a girl right there and a girl standing behind him and the girl standing, like they just all around the man. So he stood up and he, you know, and I spoke to him, shook his hand, whatever. And I said, "Oh, you like the hat?" Because I thought that he was pointing at. He said, "No." He said, "You know I like the hat." He said, "But I like where you were sitting at." He said, "You had the best seat in the house. Out the way." You understand what I'm saying? So then we started talking, and you know, I'm asking him like, "Man, how do you deal with all of these women, the people around you?" And you know, and I said, "And I know you married." He said, "Man, it's like fishing." He said, "You know, they jump out the water, you look at them, you throw them back in, and you go home to your wife." You know what I'm saying?
That's a gem.
But he said, you know, and this is my Denzel Washington story. First and only time ever meeting the brother. But again, to my point about just being cool, staying out the way, people will notice you. I'm sitting in the corner chilling, and Denzel noticed me over there and acknowledged it. So I'm telling people it's power in just relaxing and being cool. Because when you're not in the mix, those that's in the mix will see you because you're not there with everybody else doing the same old thing.
Dang. I have a question about that actually too when it boils down, because remember we talking about this. So I do not remember the baseball player's name, but when it boils down to the men right now, right? What's a way that they can, or y'all can, protect yourselves when it comes down to women? Because a lot of false
women you talking about?
We talk the same women we just talked about.
Okay.
Just one of the women that be standing
the
around.
Same,
okay.
But
the vultures you talking?
Yeah, the vultures. Yeah, but so what I mean by that is, right. So there's a lot of like false accusations that go on, right? And so if you're in that limelight or aiming for that limelight, right, which a lot of people are aiming for but don't even understand that part of the game, right? Like, what are some ways that, or what are some things that men should look out for, or how can they protect themselves from, you know, being falsely accused or getting themselves in situations that a woman is ended up lying on them? And now, because the thing is, right, when that happens, y'all image, whether it's true or not, false not, the image is ruined sometimes after that. So do you have any advice on just for men to, for those coming up that don't not even think about that part, they just think about the money, the women, but not thinking about the lies and the BS that comes with that?
Yeah, don't be a thirst bucket. Don't be a thirst bucket. I'm telling you, do not be thirsty, and have people around you that has your best interests at heart. Don't have people around you that want your life. Don't have people around you that's trying to get girls while you trying to get the girls, and they supposed to be working security or whatever they supposed to be doing. Like, if you're the primary, you know, subject, then remember that, and the people around you have to remember that. But just for guys in general, you know, and I know it's harder for the younger dudes to understand this because, you know, they're not fully developed, a lot of them, to think with the right head. But just for the sake of saying it, to say that it was said, and if you heard it, take heed to it. You can't be a thirst bucket. You can't just think about, oh, what she's getting ready to do for me. Because you're not thinking about what she could possibly getting ready to do to you.
Yep.
You know, so the whole twist is discernment. It's discernment. It's understanding. If you out at the club, you out at a party or hosting, and somebody been drinking, and you the one with the money, and then she gonna go back to the room and all that. Like, I know people, and I advise this: start carrying NDAs in your backpack next to your weed.
Wow.
Start carrying NDAs. Start carrying consent forms, like you're going on a field trip at school. Wow. Because it done got that tricky. It has gotten that tricky, and I'm serious about that. Like, you really almost got to have these chicks sign a contract. You know, that's why a lot of times they go to these parties and events is like, okay, no phones. No phones. You know, so I think people have to understand the times that we're in. Yes, groupies have been around forever, but once upon a time, the groupies meant you no harm.
Yep.
They was really, really happy to be there. Now it's about, girl, you ain't getting no money? You know you could have.
Yep.
And it's like, now it's about what can you do to get something out of this person, and it don't matter if you hurt them. Because now, what I call it before, I gave it a name before, bandwagon defamation is a thing. All it takes is for this person to say something about you, and then it look like this person about to get some money. Somebody else don't mind making up something because they think they can get some money too. Absolutely. They will absolutely do that.
Absolutely.
And then the sad part about it is you'll have a lot of people who will say, oh man, 5 people said this, it gotta be true.
Yep.
Not knowing all 5 of these people can be lying.
Yep.
That's the sad part. Times have changed to the point where people feel like if enough people say it, then it has to be true.
Absolutely.
You know, once upon a time, like when I was in school, when I was a kid, report card time come. My mom come to the school. If homeroom, English, math, gym, every class, the teacher say, I was talking, my mom don't want to hear nothing I got to say because she know her child. She know I was talking. But it's not because everybody said it. It's because she knows me.
Yep.
On top of everybody saying it. Now, if my mother knew me to be quiet and I'm not a talker and all the teachers said I was talking, she might have a conversation with me and really hear me out. And then she may have wondered, but why don't that ain't like him to be no talker. It would have put some doubt in her mind.
Right.
So it's the same thing when a bunch of people gang up and say something about one individual. Now, if this is something that this person is known to do, like this has been proven, you be doing that. Not people said you be doing it. It's been proven that you be doing it. That's different. But when you got a bunch of accusations, people forget that it can be just that.
Accusation.
A bunch of accusations. So at some point, especially when you become seasoned in the industry, when you become seasoned with having money, when you become seasoned with dealing with girls and groupies and all, when you become seasoned, it's certain things you ain't supposed to let happen no more. You're supposed to know you're supposed to have a different type of vetting system. You're supposed to have advanced discernment. And you're supposed to be able to say, "Nah, I'm cool tonight. I'm dealing with somebody I know, and not nothing new." Because new levels, new devils.
Definitely. So how can, like the newer generation of brothers who haven't had that community or, a moms or a pops or just a relative to be able to drop those gems, how can they, how can we start bridging those gaps to be able to help our brothers not be in those positions as many times as they are?
The first thing that has to happen is they have to want it. It starts with being receptive to criticism. It starts with being receptive to intervention, receiving people that want to help you. Because I tell people there's a difference between giving up on somebody and accepting that they've made a choice of who they want to be. So if it's already in your mind, man, I'm not trying to hear what he talking about. I'm not trying to hear that. I got this figured out. If that's already their temperament, then sometimes those are the people that you have to let learn the hard way. Because if you got 20 dudes who need this game, who need this assistance, who need this help, who need this guidance, you got 20 of them. And 13 is standing there waiting for it, can't wait for you to give it to them. And 7 is like, I'm on what I'm on. And you wasting all of this time trying to change this 7, you're going to lose the 13. Give them the attention that they want and need. Help them become successful. Help them grow. Help them mature and advance. Maybe this other 7 will see what's going on and maybe 2 or 3 of them will slide over. But once you gave them what you got to give and they still don't want it, you have to be comfortable moving on. Like that's, I really stand on that when I'm out here talking to youth and the younger generation. Like, I really, rarely do I have to go and try to reach out to somebody, because the way I deliver, the way I speak, they reach out to me. And that makes it a whole lot easier, because if they reach out to me, then I automatically know they want it.
Right.
And that's what OG stand for, offering game. So I just offer it. And I make it comfortable for you to reach out to me if you feel like I'm somebody that can do something for you. It's much easier that way when they reach out. So it's just a matter of them wanting it.
Right.
Whether they reach out or not, even if somebody bring me to them. I've had mothers reach out to me on behalf of their sons. I've had fathers reach out to me on behalf of their sons. And it worked. So sometimes you have to be taken to them, but they always going to have to be receptive.
Right.
That's the only way it's going. That's the only way it's going to be effective.
And I think your approach is something that helps out as well with making one want to come to you. Even thinking of like the topic that's hot right now, piping hot, the 50-50 relationship. Just your perspective. With just shedding light on it in the video. That y'all put out and what have you, but just everyone just automatically just shooting, or they got this opinion, like I was sharing out and I'm like, I don't think that what he was saying was actually like messed up. it's like what you were saying as far as just the delivery in it and being able to help the young brother that was on the couch that was conversing with
those
him.
are two brothers in the red?
Yeah, red is Yada. Yeah.
The sweatsuit.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yada.
See, here was, you know, and you're right, I did do a post on that. And my problem with that whole exchange was he lost a brother when he told him he wasn't a man. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yep.
He put that.
It wasn't nothing else to discuss with him after that.
Yep.
It goes back to what I was talking about
With Rick Ross.
With Ross.
Yep.
Like once you offend somebody, like it doesn't matter, you know, because a lot of people, I saw the comments, a lot of people, oh, he was very calm while he was irate and he was very respectful and he was laid back. Of course he was. The ball was in his court.
Yep.
You know, he feeling himself. In his mind, I got paper. You don't. So, whatever I'm saying, you should be listening to me. You can't talk to a grown man like that.
Yep.
I don't care how much money he don't have. Because when you ask the man, well, do your wife cook for you? Yes. Do your wife clean? Yes. Do your wife? Everything he asked him about his wife, the man answered in the affirmative, right?
Yep.
He tried to minimize it. Oh, well, if your wife do all that and then you make her, you make her go work 16 hours a day. Now, last time I checked, it's not easy outside and everybody not rich. And we all come from families that required 2 incomes.
Yep.
So I don't know when that played out. I don't know if it was the pandemic. I don't know when it was. I don't know what happened where it became a competition in black relationships versus partnerships.
So wait. What I hear you saying is even when you were coming up, it still had both parties.
Dog, for as long as I can remember, if you wasn't rich, your household required 2 incomes, or it wasn't no man in the house. It required a part-time job under the table and welfare. But multiple incomes had to come from somewhere. I don't know when this whole thing started with a man ain't a man if his woman gotta help him. That's crazy. And to look another man in his face and speak as if you speaking with compassion, my brother. You can't be a man. You can be a male, but you can't be a man. There is no way in hell that conversation gonna go right. Not if you talking to a man who sees himself as a man.
Right.
A man who didn't have no esteem, a man who was unsure of himself, might have succumbed to that. But homie wasn't going, and rightfully so, because as a man, I wouldn't have went. Because I understand the dynamic of people, right? The way life works, if you got a whole lot of this, it's somewhere you lacking over here with a whole lot of that.
Said that.
So for these men, and I'm not singling this guy out, this is what I've noticed over a course of time with a lot of men who have money, and they're the ones that beat their chest because they pay all the bills and they women stay home. Those guys, a lot of times, are abusive. Mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically, they're narcissistic because they have this mentality that I paid the cost to be the boss. I'm gonna tell you if you can go out with your girlfriends. I'm gonna tell you if you can go out at all. Everything that you do evolves around what I say because I paid for it to be that way. That's not a partnership either. So when I hear a man talking like that, it automatically makes me think, okay, what area in life are you lacking? Where your wife at? Let her come holler at me.
Wow.
Let me holler at wifey. Sweetheart, how's everything at home? What's going on with you? Is he respectful? You know, how does he treat you? Tell me the truth. He ain't here, he's just me and you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking to you, sis. Are you happy at home? Are you happy with him paying for everything? Because think about this. As luxurious as that sounds, that's a lot of power for an individual to have over somebody else. Now, granted, if that's your household and the woman does this and the man foots the bill and that's your dynamic and that's what works and it's respectful, then there's nothing to be said about that. But far too often, when I hear men having those conversations, I don't hear them talk about how happy their wife is. I don't hear them talk about how fulfilled she is with the situation being that way.
Right.
So I just always, for me personally, those like when it's all about I do this and I do that, and my woman ain't got to do this, and then you hear so many women who are tired, so many women who want a partner, so many women who want help because they've made bad choices and decisions when it comes to men. They hear stuff like that, and out come the pom-poms.
Yep.
But they forget sometimes the emotional abuse, the mental abuse that's attached to men like that. So when I was watching that, I'm like, I get what he's saying because you owe yourself and your family ultimate effort. You owe yourself and your family ultimate ambition. Always reach for more. Be better. But at the end of the day, everybody don't want to be rich. Everybody don't want big bills. Everybody don't want a car note. Some of these men and women, she go to work, he go to work. They take their kids on vacation every other summer. They content. That's their life. Let them be that. Because I don't care how many podcasts people sit on. I don't care how many of these conversations that they have. It's not going to change the fact that everybody not going to be rich. So stop making people feel like they're less than because they're not rich.
Absolutely.
Stop making a man feel like he's less than a man because his wife gets up and work 12 to 16 hours but still come home and cook dinner. Because he might be bathing the kids while she cooking dinner. He might be doing the laundry. And if she tell him, you know what, babe, I had an easy day at the hospital. I'm going to cook. I'm going to put the kids down. I know you had a hard day on the construction site. Go get a bath and sit down and lay down. I got this. Let them do that. Everybody is trying to live somebody else's relationship.
And one of the key things you said is a partnership.
When did it stop being that?
It's a partnership.
When did relationships stop being partnerships?
No, absolutely. You know what, too? When you anybody that's trying to do the teaching, it's your responsibility to be able to move to the student, not for you to try to bring the student to you, in my opinion. And I think, in my opinion, because I've been following, but when marketing, everything on social media is marketing in some type of way. So if you're about to sell a relationship product, what better way than to amp up a conversation? Because if you was trying to teach me, I didn't learn in a sense. And I'm not trying to say it in a way, so this is what I mean by teaching. I'm not trying to say it in a way of disrespecting the video or the content of the video. But I listened to the video to learn both points. And I just kind of learned an argument. I didn't particularly learn. So to me, I'm like, oh, this wasn't for a solution, because it could have easily just been a solution tied to it. But to me, it was more of a thing of a hype thing.
No, but that's and it's a bunch of hypotheticals.
Hype things.
So many hypothetical conversations now. I saw something the other day that said, if your friend, talking about a woman to another woman, if your friend pulled up to your house and said, I'm outside, and you're 25 minutes from home, and your man is in the house, do your girlfriend go in the house or do she wait for you? I'm like, what is this? Like,
it's crazy.
But it had 4,000 comments.
Wow, 4,000?
Bunch of arguments in the comments.
4,000 comments on this post. It was the crazy over a hypothetical.
Wow.
But that's what so many of these conversations about, even including the relationship ones. So many conversations are about everything except what's going on with you and yours.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
People trying to live vicariously through these posts and what these people on here telling them that they should do, and they not even in relationships. Or then when the cameras go off, they doing the opposite of what they told you to do. People have a real problem living within the constructs of their own reality. What's going on at your house?
Yep.
That's all that matters. You can take bits and pieces of valuable information, right? And you can apply some things that you may pick up here and there. But at the end of the day, what's going on with you and your lady? Don't let nobody tell you, Miss Lady, don't let nobody tell you that your man is less than a man because you got to go to work. That man ain't on no NBA contract.
Absolutely.
That man ain't got the top chart and rap record. Y'all are regular people living regular lives, listening to people on the internet tell y'all that y'all ain't worth nothing to each other, and y'all going for it. People really be taking this stuff, and you can look at it and read it. They talk about the music.
So
That's
Some of these podcasts is more dangerous than the music.
Nah, absolutely.
Some of these podcasts are more dangerous than music because people are actually speaking with conviction as if they know what the hell they talking about and standing on it relentlessly.
And saying it in a way where they're saying it to you for views. Like, they're not really saying it to teach you. They're saying it for views and for things for them to explode off of, not to actually physically teach.
Or they're saying things that apply to them.
Absolutely.
This is only applicable to you and your household. I saw somebody, brothers, they was talking in the barbershop the other day, and something about the man said men are not wired to love women. We only wired to want to have sex with them. We don't.
I did.
We don't want to love them. We just want to F them. Like, huh? Yeah, when we see y'all, no man wants to have sex with his woman 3 times in a row. He'd rather have sex with 3 different women versus having sex with his woman 3 times in a row. Well, excuse me, Mr. Recklessness.
Mr. Recklessness.
Excuse me, Mr. Reckless.
I'm dying.
Like, as men, we do, certain men, like, I know me, my brother, some of my, like when it come to, we bougie when it come to women. Like I'm glad I reached the age of not being a thirst bucket. It's a cool age to be. When you can see women, admire them for their beauty, and don't want no phone number, don't want to get to know them, just see them, admire them. You so beautiful, you look so good in that dress, baby, and keep it pushing. That's a great age to reach. And I guess homie ain't get there yet. He talking about he can't have sex with his woman 3 times in a row. Something wrong with that.
I think it's also a mindset too.
Of course, that's what I said. You gotta get to a certain. If your lady becomes unattractive to you after round 1, something wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's years ago, probably back in 2017, I put a post up on my Instagram, and it was directed to men and breaking up with women. And I said, if y'all have broken up and that lady done went on about her business, and you steady on her heels talking about, baby, I want you back, baby, I want you back, oh, I want you back. I said, stop harassing that lady and go jerk off. If you jerk off and you still miss her after you jerk off, go get her. If you don't miss that lady after you jerk off, leave that woman alone. Because you don't miss her. You miss the sex. So correlating that with what homie's saying about not being able to have sex with your lady 3 times in a row. If you can only go 1 round with your woman and then you gotta wait 2 more weeks before you attracted to her again, that's not your woman and you're not attracted to her in the first place.
It's actually deeper meaning than that to it. way deeper meaning than that to it. Dang.
Like, I don't even know what you call. That's not your woman. Like, that's a concubine or skeet rag, as we say. Like, that's not. You don't see her as your woman, but you can. And guess what? If that's what he is in his life, that's cool.
Yep.
But don't project that on the other men and say, "Come on, dog, you know you ain't want to." And dudes is clapping it up and laughing at, like, no. Come on, man. We got to stop supporting bullshit, man. We got to stop doing that. That's another big problem that we have. We ooh and ah and cheer for things that are completely against common sense. Just for the, I guess, the clicks and the likes and the, you know, I was watching earlier the Lauryn Hill concert.
Oh, yes.
And she told the people, y'all lucky I come on this stage every night. And the people was like, somebody on stage with her was like, yeah, period. I mean, she was hard with the period. Like, yeah, like she just gave an award-winning speech and people in the crowd is yelling and applauding this. And I'm like, how are the people who spent the money to come the lucky ones? Y'all lucky I'm on this stage every night? But people cheering that on. Granted, Lauren's a legend, like I said in my post. And I gave her some grace and benefit and said, maybe she meant, y'all don't know what I go through every night to have to get on this stage. That would have been completely different. She said, y'all lucky I get on this blood clot roster something stage. Y'all lucky I come out here every night. Y'all lucky. And people just went crazy over that statement. And I'm like, wow, like, yo, right is still right, man. Wrong is still wrong. And that's just not right. It's just not right. And people have to stop with these personal projections, speaking on behalf of all women and speaking on behalf of all men.
Absolutely.
Because some of this stuff is crazy. And you got to tell these people, no, that's how you and yours is living. Don't put that on me and everybody else, because it's asinine.
Dang, man, that's deep. That's deep. And then you know what, too? I think social media just gives you a space in that you wouldn't be or say in person.
Of course.
Or in the camera, too. Like, the camera, too.
I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms. The way people conduct themselves and the things they say on social media, on camera, to people. Or should I say at people, because you're speaking at people. Because a lot of these people would never, they just would never do or say some of the things that they do behind these cameras. And it's unfortunate because so many are influenced and tricked into believing that, oh, this person really about that life. No, they're not. They wouldn't be on camera talking like that if they were. Like, some things about life has never and will never change. And one of those things is the loudest person in the room is probably the weakest person in the room. People who really about action, they don't even be wanting action because they know what they're going to do. They know where it can lead. And they don't want them problems. Especially somebody that has been incarcerated before. Especially somebody who's traveled those paths and understand what's going to come behind them acting a fool. Them people to be the ones that don't want no trouble. The ones that get on these cameras, I don't understand how they do it. And sit there and scream and holler and spit and just go crazy in their phone. And then I'm like, what do you do after that? First of all, what happens if the person you talking to not even listening at the moment? What if they didn't even get what if they didn't even see it?
Right.
Like, and you're just going ballistic, nuts. And a phone.
in their mind, they gonna see it because it's social media.
Yeah, in their mind.
Somebody gonna show them, add them. Yo, you heard this? Yo, they saying this about you.
And ignore, man. Listen, boy, some of the things that's been said to me and about me, boy, has been, and I just be like, wow. Whew, that's how you feel about the old OG? I'm not doing no responding.
Don't even pay no attention.
You can't. You cannot, man. You cannot. Like I said, I done had people say the craziest things about me. But I'm not telling nobody to pull up. And I'm not. Now, I might do some homework on you. I might do some homework to get an idea of what I'm dealing with.
Yep.
But responding and arguing on the internet?
That's not leading me nowhere.
That'll never happen. That's not going to do nothing for my blood pressure, my cholesterol. I'm going to need none of those numbers going up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm just going to keep chilling, drinking water, minding my business, and letting you think what you think of me. Because I'm at that point now in life where you can pretty much almost say whatever you want to say out your mouth. I'm cool.
Got my composure.
For the young people, right? I feel crazy saying that now. I just was thinking for the young people, for the younger people, right, including myself. What are some ways that we could be more like cool, calm, and collective, especially with things like, because what I've noticed is that I think a major prop that plays a role in that is just the ability of us being able to get like information. So I could see a video from Shabazz, then the podcast video, then the shoes, then somebody being fly, then somebody quote unquote stepping up another level in life, like then a serious situation or a death. Our minds are like literally being pulled in so many different directions all the time. It's hard for us to even keep our composure, to even know what emotions we feeling because they're drifted a lot. So what are some ways that, like, honestly, it don't even got to be young people. It just be people, period, because I feel like it's some older people that don't got it either. But what are some ways that we could just keep our composure instead of just going off the first and feeling that first emotion? What are some ways that we could do that?
The best thing is self-awareness. Like, so many people don't know themselves. So many people don't think for themselves. And a lot of people cheat themselves in that way. Like, the relationship with you is the most important relationship that you'll have, because I just said this a couple of days ago. I was in Gadsden County, Florida, in Quincy, Florida. And my closing statement to a group of kids was, if you can control yourself, you can control the world. Self-control is so powerful. Self-awareness, right? Being able to look at you and understand you, like me. People send me stuff all day, every day. Some stuff I won't post because I don't feel like seeing it. I don't feel like putting it out there. Right? If I look on my page and yesterday, the day before, today, I done posted about this person died, cop killed this person, this person killed this girlfriend. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, 4 days. All right, it's enough of this. I might post a dog playing with a tennis ball just to break up the material.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, when you have a platform as big as mine, I'm essentially controlling people's emotions. Because they follow what I do and say. They support what I do and say. So whatever goes on my page, it's going to be received. So I have a responsibility and a duty to think about other people as well and their mental capacities.
Absolutely.
So for me, if it becomes too overwhelming for me, then I'm going to scale back. But you have to be able to do that for yourself. People have to have relationships with themselves. And then you have to practice and understand accountability. We have these conversations all the time about how to improve ourselves as Black people. How do we make ourselves better? And it's so simple. People think it's a complex answer, but it's not. If everybody in this room right now drew a conclusion about how they want the world to look, you in one house, everybody's in a different household. But we all say we want this thing. All you got to do is wake up and do what you say you want to see. Each one of us. What happens? Things change organically. Nobody told nobody what to do. Nobody said, well, if you was doing this, everybody is a contributor. But too many people are outside of themselves and into everybody else.
Yep.
Sheesh.
They into everybody else and outside of
That
themselves.
one right there.
Because if you don't know you, imagine not knowing your own limits. Imagine me having to tell you when you ate too much.
Yep.
Imagine me telling you, Key, why are you in 6 feet and you know you can't swim? You supposed to know you can't swim, so why is you over there? I'm not supposed to have the remote control of your life, but so many people willingly give that to other people. Because the mirror is a tough place to be for too many people.
Absolutely.
But that's where all the answers are.
Yep.
All the answers in the mirror. You gotta know how to forgive yourself. You gotta know how to be honest with yourself. You gotta know how to face your own realities. We all are made the same but different. We all got six senses. We all have that sixth sense of intuition that speaks to us, that tells us this is not good. This is what you should be doing. Shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be messing with her or him. Don't do that. We all have that. The problem is most of us ignore it. And we do what feels good versus what's best.
Temporary pleasure.
So people, again, are outside of themselves. If more people understood how to talk to themselves and conversate with them. Like my son, 26. About 2 weeks ago, I was talking to my son, and I said, Scrap, you good? Everything all right with you? He said, yeah, then I'm good. He said, wow, what's up? I said, nah, you ain't called for no advice. You don't ever call with no problems. You see what I do on social media every day. Like, my own son don't ever ask and reach out. And my son said to me, he said, Dad, he said, I don't be calling you and mommy with all these questions because the way y'all raised me, I already know what y'all gonna say. So I just talk to myself.
Wow.
Fire.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
He said, I just talk to myself.
That's beautiful.
He said, and I answer myself. And I laugh because I do the same thing. My mother used to suffer from depression back in the 90s, and she got 6 kids. I'm the oldest. And all my siblings been to therapy with my mom except me. I never went. I wasn't in the household. She took me to meet her therapist because she talked about me so much that he never met me. I went to meet him, but I never went. And I always hear a lot of people say, black people need therapy. We traumatized. We need therapy. We need therapy. We need therapy. And it's just never something that I personally subscribe to because for me, therapy is conversation. Instagram on the right pages with the right people is therapeutic, right? For me, once I learned how to be honest with myself, I learned how to stop loving females more than I love me. I learned how to value myself. I learned how to love. I started to pay attention to the things that I was lacking. And why I always find myself in these situations, why every girl I ever loved hurt me. It's because, nigga, you wasn't loving yourself. Yeah. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Anybody that you give to gonna take. You understand what I'm saying? Then I started to think about what my mother used to say to me when I was young, in high school, in love with Lisa.
Lisa from Coming to America?
Not quite. I think my Lisa was a little finer.
but I mean to cut your thought off. Go ahead.
No, my mother used to tell me, let Lisa call you sometime. Stop calling that girl all the time. Let Chuck come over here sometime. Stop always asking me, can you go over Chuck's house? She was teaching me self-value.
Yep.
Let somebody show you what you mean to them versus you always showing them what they mean to you. So as I became an adult and as I grew and matured, I started to understand that. And self-love, self-care, that's going to take you a long way when you're dealing with people. So when my son said to me, I talked to myself, I knew my boy was all right. Because that's important. If you can talk to you to keep you from feeling down, or even if you do feel down, you could talk to yourself and say, you know what, I'm down today, but I'll be all right tomorrow.
Yep.
Because if you go to a therapist, that's what they're going to tell you.
Yep.
Now, unless you got some real chemical imbalances going on, but for the most part, therapy is this. Therapy is having somebody you can pick up the phone and talk to. And I have that. And I am that to so many.
Beautiful.
There's people I never met in person that I've met on Instagram that got my phone number. I never seen them in the physical. They'll pick this phone up and call me. I got friends that friends.
Shout out to friends. She told me to tell you we gotta shout her out. Shout out friends. Shout out to friends.
Listen, I met friends in 1997.
Wow.
I seen friends twice.
Wow.
Since then. Love her to death. Like, that's one of my closest friends. Lady know everything about me. I know everything about her.
Wow.
And since 1997, we've been in each other's presence twice. That's power.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. So it's all about being in tune with you. Not enough people do that. And that's how you're able to get taken advantage of. That's how you're able to be used, because people will exploit your weaknesses. The more you ask, the more people will know that you don't know. My mentor, Troy Shelton, when I first got into the promotions business, radio promotions, he told me that when you start going into these people's offices and having these meetings, he said, always remember, they're listening for what you don't know. They're not listening to what you know. They're sitting and they're waiting to figure out what you don't know. And what you don't know is where they're going to get you at. So you got to always do your due diligence, your personal due diligence, to make yourself aware of what's going on around you. Because if you always asking somebody for advice, if you always telling somebody you need them, you're always telling somebody, one, they're going to play with you sometimes. Two, they're going to charge you. You're going to end up paying for it. When in all actuality, the only thing you had to do was really sit back, take a deep breath, and get into yourself.
Definitely. Did you find it like therapeutic when you was writing your book?
No, my book was fun. I had fun writing the book. And if it was therapeutic, I didn't know that it was. It was just, I had a good time writing it. You know, so when I did it, it wasn't like, wow, whew, that was a load off of me. All I did was tell my story. Because the real inspiration and the motivation behind the book was a lot of people on social media didn't know who I was. They're like, who is this dude? Where did he come from? Why do all these people know him? And why does everybody like him? So it was like I just fell out of nowhere. So it was like, hold on, let me let these people know, like, the stuff that I'm talking about, I really did this. I really been outside. You know what I mean? I'm talking about this stuff because I did it. I witnessed it. I didn't Google this stuff. I was really outside. I was really around the people that y'all see on TV. I really was around people that y'all have seen on American gangster shows. Like, I really was out here. But a lot of people don't know that. So I said, well, let me write this book. And as I write the book and tell my story from a kid to now, it'll paint a picture of my experiences and how I got to where I am, why I think the way I do, and how I've been able to maneuver, navigate, and put myself in the positions that I've been in and am in right now. So the book was more like a tutorial of this is me, in case you didn't know. But at the same time, flip your life. like I did, because so much of the book is relative to everybody else's story, because the majority of us, we come up the same way. That's why we can laugh, you know, on social media about, you know, black mothers.
Yep.
We come up the same way. We know about the music. We know about the sayings. We know about, you better get out my face. You look like McDonald's. I ain't got no McDonald's.
Yep.
Like, we know all of that. Like, I used to think my mother was crazy. Like, every time I asked for something, whatever I asked for, she said, get out my face. You look like that. You look like a cheese doodle. You look like a 50 cent. You better get out my face. You look like a McDonald's.
Black people is going, one thing we going to do is hike.
Yeah, so it's like, God, man, everything I want, I can't have it because I look like it.
Right.
And I got to get out your face. So we know this kind of lingo because we all come up like this. You know, those of us who was unfortunate, those of us who had, you know, food stamps and, you know, stuff like we know these things because that's those settings, you know, brought about certain universal actions in the inner city. So the book was just like a mirror for so many people. And that's why the people who read it revere me so much for it, because it was like, man, I'm reading my own life story.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You know what I mean? And then I was just able to add some other elements of present day and current times that we're living in. I like parenting and, you know, how to deal with the police and, you know, those things are in there as well. So it was just like, it was cool to write the book. It didn't take nothing off my heart. It didn't, you know, I didn't have to like disclose these heavy secrets and get it out. You know, I ain't had to do all that. Like, I just really wanted people to understand, like, y'all see me, but you don't really know where I came from and how all of this took place. So I wanted it to make sense to people. And that's what the book was primarily about.
Did your son read it, or he said, I got the answers already?
You know what? I don't know if he read it or not.
He probably going to tell you he had the answers already.
I mean, if he didn't, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, my son is really like, Eric is, and I'm proud of this, because when I was his age, he's 26. When I was his age, I was still trying to be impressive. I was trying to impress people. I was still finding me. That boy knows who he is.
Fire.
And he lives in it. If he don't want to do it, he's not doing it. He don't want to go, he's not. I don't care who going, who's doing it. He walks to the beat of his own drum. You know, he's a college graduate. He works his job from home. He got a nugget of friends, and he just does him. You know, he don't dress like I dress. My mother said he looked like he goes in the room in the dark.
I thought she was about to say another joke, like, yo, she's still
No,
joking.
my mother, she said she laughs because she said he looked like he just go in the room in the dark, open the drawer, and just put on the first thing he touched. This is because sometimes I'll be looking at him, I'm like, man, this boy look like I don't know if he look like a Rasta or he got hair. Like, he just does him, and I'm grateful for it, because I'd rather him be that way. Because his mother stopped me when I was getting ready to start it, and he was in the 6th grade when I was getting ready to go buy him and trying to decide if I'm going to get the Louis loafers with the Louis belt or the Gucci loafers with the Gucci belt for him to graduate in. And his mother said, if you start that, you're doing that on your own. I'm not participating. I'm not helping. I'm not going half. If you start that, that's going to be on you. So I thought about it. I'm like, I didn't do it. My brother, Derek, had bought my son a pair of Gucci sneakers for his birthday. I think his 16th birthday. Boy never wore the shoes. Never wore them. He loved Vans, Converses, a bunch of stuff I never heard of. And then him and his friends got a clothing line, Limitless
Nice.
World,
Wow.
they doing. Like, he's everything socially that I wasn't, and I'm glad. He never been in the street, never had a desire, never hung with a bunch of guys, never was interested in having a bunch of different girls, and he just was the opposite. He's more like his mother and his grandfather and his uncles on that side. Not me, Mr. Flashy, gotta be everywhere, standing on couches, popping bottles with sparklers and, you know, acting up with this guy over here. You know, like, he ain't do none of that. He ain't do none of that. So and my daughter, same way. She's married, kids. She's 32, quiet, do her own thing, live in the deep south in the country in Cordell, Georgia, where I'm from. My kids dress like me, like to be fly, like to get clean, like takes very good care of herself and her kids, but low key. My daughter low key like my mom. I'm the loud one.
Nice.
Was.
So beautiful. So beautiful. But for it to just be them, though, is why I like it, because you're saying like that they're being their authentic self.
They being themselves.
And
they turn, you know, and the beautiful thing about my daughter and I, you know, like I didn't know I had a daughter until she was 8 years old.
Wow.
You know, I found out I had a daughter, she was already 8. But when I found out I had her, it's been up ever since. My family, my brothers, my sisters, my mother, been involved from day one, from the time that we found out. You know, like I said, she's 32 now. It's my dog.
Wow.
And it just goes back to, as men, you know, a lot of people criticize, you know, the kids who weren't in the household with their dad. But, you know, I was in Philly. My daughter was in Georgia. I used to be on the phone helping her with homework. You know, my son haven't lived in the house with me since he was 10 months. His mother and I got divorced when he was 2, you know, while I was in prison. But never missed a beat as a dad with neither one of them. You know, yes, ideally, you can be in the household and, you know, that's the ideal situation. But when it comes to your kids and you love them and you want to be there, I don't care where you live, you're going to figure it out and you're going to be in your kid's life. That's just point blank bottom line.
Absolutely.
You know, I done jumped on plenty airplanes to go to football games and practices and graduations and dances and birth. Like, you're going to get there. You're going to get there. Would I have preferred to be in the house with my kids? Absolutely. But I don't regret anything, because once I had my conversation with both of my kids about their feelings for me, I was cool. I was cool. Once my kids told me they love me regardless. And when my son told me, when I asked my son, who do you look up to? Because he likes LeBron, he likes Kanye, he likes Chief Keef. And I had a conversation with him a few years ago. And I asked him, like, you know, who do you look up to? And he said, I don't look up to nobody except you and mommy. So for me not to have lived in the house with him and still have that much of an impact on my son meant the world to me. Especially my boy. You know what I'm saying? Especially my boy. So, yeah, I got a couple good ones.
How was it just dealing like with the tumultuous, I want to say, teen years? I have a 14-year-old son. So how did you, as a father, I want to say, handle the teenage years?
I was lucky. My son was a good kid. His mother might speak of some trying times. She was in the house with him. I know he done had to duck a couple barbecue sauce bottles. You know, she done had her moments with him.
Right.
But I've never had to hit my son. You know, I was laughing with him not too long ago because and I forgot about this. He said he did something, and he said he just remembered me calling him. And he said he got on the phone. He said, and all I said to him was, do we have a problem? And he said, from that day forward, he said, Dad, you ain't never have no more problems with me. I don't even remember that, but he did.
Right.
He remembered it. And he was like, I just, you know, he just never been a problem kid. My daughter, you know, my daughter got pregnant when she was 16. And you know, the way the story goes, you know, she's supposed to be this, she's supposed to be that. My daughter did not give up. She did not throw in the towel. She did not succumb. She went, she got that GED, then she went and took some more courses and classes for some other stuff, and you know, she made up her mind that being a teenage mother wasn't going to be her demise. And she got 3 kids, and they all by the same guy, and they married.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
Blessing. Blessing.
We have
Sheena.
we have
Sheena.
we have an episode geared
Sheena.
towards
Yep.
that specific situation. Like literally, the episode is for young moms on that same path.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, she
That's beautiful.
You know, she had an early pregnancy, but her and the young man, they stayed together.
Good.
Had more babies, and they got married, and they living good.
Beautiful.
They living well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. If anybody or any young mothers or even moms who are older now and still are dealing with the grievance of just the negative thinking or the negative comments that were said to you, definitely make sure y'all check out the episode
2.
It is episode 2. You could do anything featuring Sheena. She owns 5 vegan restaurants in Newark, and she had her first kid at 13. And having 3 children with the same father.
Right.
And she has flourished, and her children are flourishing too. And so, please make sure y'all check that out.
It's not a death sentence, yo.
Absolutely. That's what we want to.
You know, it's you know, I know it's frowned upon.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
it's not advised.
Yes.
You know, because parenting is hard, especially young. You know,
Absolutely.
Because the responsibility doesn't just fall on you. That responsibility transfers to those who are taking care of you at that age.
Absolutely.
So it's not a death sentence, but what it is, it's a test of stamina. It's a test of will. And if you want to be good, if you want to be better, that's just going to be an obstacle, but it's not going to be the end of you. You know, my grandmother had my mother when she was 14. My mother had me when she was 18. Right? It turned out pretty good.
Absolutely.
You understand me? My sister Erica, she had my niece, you know, Mani, when she was 16. I cried like a baby.
Is that the jackets you wear?
The Imani Ashley.
Yes.
That's my sister's clothing line, but Imani Ashley is her daughter, my niece.
Got it.
That's her first child.
Nice. Okay.
You know, and when Erica got pregnant, I mean, you talking about crushed. Yo, I was so hurt when my sister was pregnant. Like, I cried. Me and my brother Kevin, we cried. Because again, it's not a death sentence, but you know what come with that, right? But my sister just celebrated her 39th birthday. I got
It's a blessing.
22-year-old niece, a 19-year-old nephew, and 5-month-old niece now.
Wow.
And she doing her thing. She produced this clothing line back in 2015 that she started pushing and believing in herself, and you know, she's working, gainfully employed, and she being a mom, and she doing her thing. You know, and again, you know, started as a 16-year-old mother. You know, she had my mother's support, family support. We stood by her, and she turned out okay. Again, you know, teenage motherhood isn't advised, but man, with the right support system and the right belief in yourself and wanting something out of life, it ain't gonna slow you down. Or should I say, it'll slow you down, but it won't stop you. You're gonna have to be strong. You're gonna have to be resilient. You're gonna have to make sacrifices. There's gonna be things that you can't do. You know, it's not gonna be all about you any longer. However, you know, you can still push through, young mothers and young fathers. It's just a matter of, do you want to be productive?
Absolutely.
That support is critical. Support is critical.
Yeah.
Critical.
And how you process. because I'm getting that from the episode we talked about it. She was talking about just processing what you go through as well, like
Right.
support as well, and just like you said, talking to yourself. That's processing.
Oh, God, talk. I promise you, man. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid to talk to yourself. You might like. I know my neighbors might think it'd be two people. Because I might be like, yo, dog, what is you doing?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta say it out loud.
No, all the time. No, you gotta say it out loud.
Absolutely.
And you gotta respond.
Absolutely.
You gotta check it. Like you gotta check it. Like you gotta say, yo, dog, what is you doing? And then you gotta say in a different voice, you right.
Oh, he teasing us. Oh, wait, hold on.
No, you gotta do it. You gotta, because it gotta be a real conversation.
Yeah, I
So
ain't
you
do
gotta say it.
I ain't do the different voice before, but I'm about
God-
to try that. I'm about to try that.
Why is that
for
so
sure.
important?
The
Like
different-
just the different voices.
Because that's the conversation. Man, you don't got the same voice.
Got it.
So if you checking me, and then I give in, like, damn, Rel, you know what? You right. That's what I do to myself. Come on, dog. Come on, Baz, you bugging. Man. All right, you right. This
I'm about to do that.
I'm telling you.
I'm about to do that.
Don't be scared to do it though. Don't worry about if somebody catch you. It's cool. My brother, I got caught one time. My brother Derek caught me one time. This was a long time ago. He caught me at a family reunion. He caught me
At the reunion though,
I was at
like
the family reunion at my uncle house. So my uncle, he had the house, and then he had the pool, and then outside he had this other area where it was a bathroom, and I was in the bathroom, and it was a window. And the window was open, and I didn't know my brother was standing out there smoking a cigarette, and I'm in the back, and I'm just like, I'm in it, and I'm getting it on, and I'm like, I'm gesticulating with the hand. I'm like, I'm really having a full blown conversation, and and I came out the back. My brother said, "Yo, are you crazy?" He said, "You was really in there having a whole conversation with yourself?" I'm like, "Dog, listen, I do what I gotta do,
Yo.
but yeah, it worked. I'm telling you."
Have you done it around Mom Dukes before?
I know she said something funny.
I was just thinking. I was checking for the jokes.
I don't think she. My mom is my mom is like. My mom is crazy. My mom is real silly. Like she is funny.
That's good though. That's
Seriously,
so good.
you-
Though.
No, like
that.
she's funny and don't even mean to be funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like she's funny. Like we really enjoy this lady, man, because it's like she was 18 when she had me, so I was her experiment child, and and she was still experimenting with the rest of. I think all her kids is grown, all 6 of us. I think now she got it figured out that she got grandkids. So now now my sisters be like, "Oh, that's messed up.
I see that.
You ain't treat us like that." It wasn't like. But see, now she in her soft era, But like we didn't get that. The grands don't get what we got. But I understand it.
They have the experience at that point.
Yeah, now she got it figured out. And and then we get old enough. I know my mom and I, we've had, plenty of conversations about, not being too hard on herself. Because parents can only be
Absolutely.
the parents that they had.
Right.
Along with whatever they picked up along the way. Parenting is not easy. Like it's a job. Right?
Yes.
And again, it's one of those things that you want to have to do, but there may be mistakes made. There may be things that you say, "Hey, I wish I could get that one back." But I've had conversations with my mom and like, "Look, baby, you don't owe me nothing. You ain't do me wrong." I gave her no choices. I gave her no choices when she put me out her house. She ain't had no choice. The only choices she had was between me and her sanity. And when even your kids, when people put you in a situation where you have to choose between you and them, you got to choose you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You have to. I don't care if it's your kids. And that's a tough decision. Because she cried every night when I wasn't in that house. And she let me come back 10 months later. But I gave her no choice. I was doing whatever I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, against everything she was begging me not to do.
Wow.
And, you know, and that was the foundation of the book.
Right.
The foundation was,
It's like,
you're going to learn everything the hard way because you don't listen. That's a quote from my mother.
I saw you bring that up. I heard you bring that up on the interview.
Yeah, you're going to learn everything the hard way because you don't listen. That was the foundation of the book. And that followed me all the way till I was 29. That followed me. So being hard-headed is what got me to a point where I had all of these experiences and dealt with so many different things because I wasn't listening.
Wow.
Thought I knew it all.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming. Like, I really, really appreciate it.
It's a lot of gems in this.
Yeah. Like, is there like one tip that you could leave us off with for those of us who want to flip our lives? Like, is there a tip that you could give us?
First of all, recognize what needs to be flipped. Accountability and living in your truth and your reality. I think if more people would identify with who they are, like, it's okay if you're different. It's okay, like, it really is okay. Like, people will give you more of a chance than you know. It's frightening to be different. It's frightening to not be going with the wave versus being the wave. That's why I'm so proud of my son. That's why I speak so highly of him in that regard, because he's not a go with the wave kid. You know, I was at his age because I wanted to be the cool guy. And then later in life was when I realized you was cool all along. You was already cool. You just had to recognize your own cool and then deliver your cool in your cool way.
Absolutely.
So what I would, you know, urge and encourage people to do is be accountable, because that's where everything starts and stops. Own it. If you did it, you did it. Fix it. But live in your truth. Walk in your reality. Like, stay within yourself and stop being so into somebody else.
That's a big one right there. Thank you. I'm filled. I don't know. You have anything else you wanted to share?
My cup running over. My cup running over. I'm appreciative, brother. Seriously. From just watching the Instagram reactions, your perspective and what have you. Like, we had bartenders on the show. Just seeing someone that's older, being able to connect, being able to listen, to be able to get the gems, the wisdom, your experiences, and share. Being able to bring them back, because I work with students, I'm a dean, so being able to tap in, being able to show them these episodes, you know, and connect is something that I'm really appreciative of, because I know that I didn't have much of that. You know, my father was incarcerated, but, you know, the letters was present, you know, but I just wish that it was more of those times where I could, you know. And then when we, you know, because me and Key, we went to school together, so we didn't have many of, like, black males to be able to connect with us, to be able to give us the real deal. So to be able to have these conversations and bring them back to the students or just anybody that we come across is definitely amazing. And you dropped a lot of gems, so I'm appreciative, brother.
No problem. I'm glad to be able to have come, you know, because to your point about the kids, people have to trust kids. Kids are a lot smarter and aware than people give them credit for. Like I said, I just came from Gadsden County, Florida, and I went to a prison, and I was talking to the inmates, and then later that same day I was at a courtyard community outreach event, and as I was speaking, it was a 9-year-old girl, 9, came up to me after I finished speaking, and she said, "Thank you so much for being here. You just changed my whole life."
9.
I said, huh? She said, you just changed. And she was about to repeat herself, and she started crying. And I'm like, why are you crying? She said, you just don't understand what you just did for me.
Wow.
9 years old, I'm bugging.
It's like the 4th grade.
She's 9. So I asked her name. She told me her name is Sade. I'm like, why are you crying? She said, what you just did just means so much to me. It changed my whole life. This is why I speak to people and not at people, kids included.
Absolutely.
Kids see your heart. Kids see through bullshit. They see it. That's why you can't talk to them with these roundabout innuendos or trying to say things for votes and for political status. Like, they see, and that's why a lot of kids are not being reached, because people are not resonating with them and they're not relating.
Right.
So you as a dean, you know, I would just, not that you're not, but just extra added encouragement, talk to them. I'm talking about talk to them. Talk to them like you know what they're going through. That's why I'm so effective, because I really have. I've really been through it. I don't go to Google to search this information.
Yep.
So when I tell kids, listen to your parents. They've been there with you. Like, they not psychic. They did what you did already. Y'all not doing nothing new.
Yep.
And this is where life is going to take you if you do this. Do it if you want. But this is the outcome. You just really have to have these conversations with them. And you have to talk to the kids and not talk at them. And for me to be 55 and for a 9-year, she ain't been alive long enough.
Entire life, though.
You changed my whole life, she said. And cried. And wouldn't stop crying.
That's amazing.
It's the power of authenticity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was dope.
You want to close this
Hope
out?
I look good on y'all camera.
You shining bright, brother. The melanin looking good, man. You dripping in melanin. Before we get out of here, you mind just sharing and just letting the people know where they can find you, where can they find the book, any new things that you got coming up?
I'm only on social media on Instagram, Shabazz The OG, ShabazzTheOG. That's the social media. You can click the link in my bio and go to BazzTheOG.com and get a copy of the book. You can get the original paperback. You can get the updated, same book but updated hardback, or you can get the bundle, which is comprised of the audio and ebook. As we were talking about earlier, the Imani Ashley clothing line is on my site as well. If you want to buy clothes. What else is coming up? I don't know if I can say this yet because it's not, the launch didn't happen yet. But I got something special coming.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to say it and then the date change, so just stay tuned for something very, very game changing that I have going on with my business partner. Shout out to Maria Beniquez, Ria, Wayne Johnson, my team, P. Rilla, the Harlem Hot Boy, the Money Team boss. Yeah, we got some things that we cooking up. So just.
I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna
stay
purchase your
tuned.
book. The conversation and everything just went so fast of like talking to you, then coming to the show. And then when I started doing my research just to prepare, I'm like, dang, I ain't gonna have time to get the book. So I'm gonna just get it and I could just read it without reading it for pressure of trying to like get through it to instant. I could actually take my time. And
You still probably gonna read it in a day.
That's cool. That's cool
That's
too.
That's the general.
That's perfect though. But it still feel like
that's
at
the
my
general
more of a leisure than full like
consensus that
I
I've been
want
getting.
to read it for the interview. You know, I could read it from a relaxed and chill and a key version versus journalist
Yeah,
or
you can laugh at.
okay. Yeah, for sure.
Because it's
For sure. Hopefully the jokes from your mother
Mom
is in
Dukes.
it.
oh no, she in there. Yeah, I talked about it in there.
All right, cool.
Mom
Yeah,
Dukes.
that's
We
what's
gonna
up.
get them blasted.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
she's definitely in there in her antics.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Shout out to Mom Dukes.
Yep,
yeah, baby, what's happening, baby?
Shout out to Mom Dukes.
Yep. So, you want to close this out?
We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all follow Shabazz OG on Instagram. Make sure that y'all follow, because he got some game changer stuff that's coming up. Get them clothes as well as the book. We thank y'all for tuning in.
Make
This
sure you
has
like
been
and subscribe.
another great hip hop health and hip hop podcast show. Excuse me. Make sure y'all like, y'all comment, y'all subscribe. Watch another episode. We out. I am the co-host, the composer Rel with.
Your girl, health is key. Thank you
We out.
again.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all.